And you? Have you ever tried eating less and exercising more, but still didn't lose weight? I want to hear your experience because it might help other people too. Have you ever wondered why you do everything right, eat less, move more, cut desserts, and yet the scale doesn't budge? Maybe you've followed the classic advice we've all heard from doctors, nutritionists, and magazines: just reduce calories. But what if the real secret isn't about calories at all? What if what actually determines whether your body burns fat or stores it is something else, something invisible but decisive called insulin? I'm going to show you the #1 insulin trick for consistent weight loss. And this isn't a minor detail, but a principle capable of turning your entire view of health upside down. If you pay attention and apply what I'm about to explain, you may never look at eating the same way again. The calorie myth: we live in a culture obsessed with numbers: calories in, calories out, caloric deficit. This simplistic math suggests that losing weight is as easy as putting less fuel in the tank. But the human body isn't a car. It's a biological machine ruled by hormones. And the one in charge of deciding what happens to the energy you consume is insulin. Don't get me wrong, calories matter, but not in the way you think. If they were the only factor, you could eat anything as long as you ate less of it. But what happens in real life? People on low-calorie diets, suffering, hungry, and still gaining fat. That's because the source of the calories matters more than the number itself. Compare two meals with the same calories: one is a sweet bun with soda, the other is an omelet with avocado. On paper, both deliver energy. But inside your body, the first one causes a massive insulin spike and triggers fat storage, while the second keeps your levels stable and promotes efficient energy use. In other words, it's not the amount of energy, it's how your body decides to use it. The first proof, the fat cell experiment. Imagine a simple experiment. You take human fat cells and place them in a petri dish filled with glucose and fatty acids, everything they supposedly love. What would you expect? That they absorb those nutrients and grow. But that's not what happens. Without insulin, the fat cells stay small, inactive, unable to store energy. It's as if they were surrounded by food yet still starving. Now, add insulin to that environment. Within hours, those same cells swell up into energy-packed storage units. The difference? Insulin unlocks the door to fat storage. This experiment shows that calories were always present, but nothing happened without insulin. The second proof, the reality of type 1 diabetics. Before insulin was discovered, children diagnosed with type 1 diabetes faced a tragic fate: they would eat and eat but still waste away, literally starving amidst plenty. Why? Because without insulin, the body couldn't use the energy from food. Even today, when a type 1 diabetic uses too little insulin, they lose weight quickly, becoming weak and thin. On the other hand, when that same person eats ultra-processed foods, loaded with sugars and starches, and has to inject higher doses of insulin to compensate, the result is often weight gain and insulin resistance. These two extreme cases teach us a clear lesson: insulin is the conductor that decides whether energy will be used or stored. Without it, cells starve. With too much of it, the body becomes a fat-storing machine. The modern dilemma: insulin out of control in nature, insulin made perfect sense. Storing energy as fat was a survival strategy for times of scarcity. But we no longer live in caves, hunting and fasting for days. Today, the reality is the opposite: food is available 24 hours a day, cheap, processed, and addictive. The body, unaware of this change, keeps activating the same ancient mechanism. The result? Chronically high insulin levels that block fat burning, increase hunger, and trap you in a cycle of weight gain. Think of it this way: when insulin is high, it's like the doors to your fat stores are locked from the inside. You have plenty of energy stored, but you can't access it. That's why so many people, even while eating less, feel weak, tired, and constantly hungry. The dawn effect, the missing piece of the puzzle. There's a biological detail almost no one talks about, but it can completely change your routine: the dawn effect. A few hours before you wake up, your body releases a wave of hormones: cortisol, adrenaline, glucagon, and growth hormone. Their job is clear: prepare you to face the day, produce quick energy, and put your brain on alert. This process raises blood sugar and indirectly increases insulin. It's as if your body were saying, wake up, move, go find food. That was the natural rhythm of our ancestors, who had no refrigerators or bakeries. Their first meal came hours after waking, only after hunting or gathering. So tell me, does it still make sense to say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day? Biologically, it actually makes more sense to wake up, move around, burn the energy released by the dawn effect, and only then eat. The insulin trick: delay your first meal. Here's a simple, practical strategy you can start today: don't eat right after waking up. Wait at least 2 hours. If possible, extend that fast until lunchtime. That's the principle behind intermittent fasting. It's not about starving yourself, but aligning your eating pattern with your biological clock. By waiting, 1. You allow the dawn effect hormones to drop naturally. 2. You lower glucose and insulin before your first meal. You improve insulin sensitivity for the rest of the day. During that time, use the energy your body has already released, walk, organize your morning, plan your day. And when you finally eat, choose foods that maintain balance, quality proteins, healthy fats, and fiber-rich vegetables. That way, your first meal won't trigger an insulin spike that ruins your body's best fat-burning window. Why does this work? Because you're finally respecting how your body is designed to function. You stop fighting your hormones and start working with them. That's the first step in the insulin trick, using time to your advantage. And remember, small shifts in meal timing can cause profound changes in how your body manages energy, hunger, and fat storage. The invisible link between sleep, stress, and insulin. Everyone talks about diet and exercise, but few people realize how much sleep and stress affect metabolism. The key once again lies in one hormone, cortisol. Cortisol is not the villain. It plays vital roles, helping the body respond to stress and mobilize energy when needed. The problem begins when cortisol stays elevated for too long, which happens both under constant pressure and when you sleep too little. Just one poor night's sleep can triple your cortisol levels by the next day. The result? You wake up more insulin resistant, prone to blood sugar spikes, and even worse, with a ravenous appetite, especially for quick carbs. That's why after a bad night of sleep, it's common to feel hungrier, less satisfied, and to crave bread, pasta, and sweets almost uncontrollably. Your body, desperate for quick energy, demands exactly what sabotages insulin sensitivity the most. So, it's pointless to focus only on food if you neglect your sleep. Without proper rest, any nutrition plan loses its strength. Stabilizing blood sugar, how to avoid the hunger roller coaster. Another crucial factor is blood sugar stability. Imagine your energy like a graph, sharp peaks followed by steep drops. This constant up and down pattern causes hunger attacks, post-meal drowsiness, and trouble focusing. When blood sugar drops too low, the body releases cortisol again to bring glucose back up. This not only raises insulin but also disrupts melatonin, the sleep hormone, impairing your nights. The result is a vicious cycle of poor sleep, more stress, and more fat storage. How to avoid it? Make protein and healthy fats the foundation of your meals. 2. Add fibrous vegetables, leafy greens, broccoli, cauliflower, zucchini, to slow digestion and stabilize blood sugar. 3. If your insulin sensitivity is good, small portions of legumes, beans, lentils, chickpeas, are fine. 4. Minimize sugars, flours, and ultra-processed foods that cause the worst spikes and crashes. A good reference range is keeping fasting glucose around 85 mg per deciliter and post-meal values below 105 mg per deciliter. These aren't absolute numbers, but useful indicators of metabolic balance. The coffee controversy, enemy or ally? Few topics spark more debate than coffee. Does it help or hinder weight loss? The answer is, it depends on context. In the early morning, your body is already more insulin resistant because of the dawn effect. If you combine that with a carb-heavy breakfast and caffeine, the insulin spike becomes even higher. That's because caffeine acts much like adrenaline, amplifying the stress response and raising blood sugar further. But here's the key detail: if you drink coffee alone, on an empty stomach, without consuming carbs, there's nothing to store. Even if insulin rises slightly, there isn't extra glucose circulating to turn into fat. In that case, coffee can actually help. It boosts alertness, sharpens focus, and may enhance fat burning during light physical activity. Practical tips: 1. If you have good insulin sensitivity, you can drink coffee early with no concern. 2. If you're insulin resistant, wait about 90 minutes after waking, when morning hormones naturally subside. 3. Avoid pairing coffee with carbs at breakfast, combine it with protein or healthy fats instead. Used wisely, coffee stops being an enemy and becomes an ally. Smart movement: why you don't need hours in the gym. Another way to optimize insulin control is through movement, but here's the good news: it doesn't need to be intense exercise. Think back to our ancestors. When they woke up, they didn't run marathons. They walked, gathered food, carried light objects, explored their surroundings. This kind of light movement, especially in the morning, helps your body use the energy released by the dawn effect and prepares it to handle the first meal better. Walking, stretching, doing chores, or any gentle activity can make a big difference. The goal isn't to burn calories, it's to activate muscles and improve insulin sensitivity. The night ritual: preparing your body to burn fat while you sleep. If the morning sets the tone for the day, the evening is even more strategic. Eating large meals right before bed is a common mistake. When you sleep with a full stomach, your body must use energy for digestion instead of cellular repair and deep rest. Ideally, leave a 3 to 4 hour gap between your last meal and bedtime. This simple habit improves sleep quality, reduces reflux risk, and prevents nighttime glucose spikes. Also, honoring the natural light-dark cycle matters. Turning off screens and keeping your room dark supports melatonin production, which regulates both sleep and metabolism. The lifestyle that protects you from weight gain. In summary, here are the key practical strategies. 1. Delay your first meal by 2 to 5 hours after waking. 2. Move lightly in the morning before eating. Base your diet on protein, healthy fats, and fibrous vegetables. 4. Avoid refined carbs and ultra-processed foods. 5. Use coffee intelligently, never paired with excess carbohydrates. Sleep better and manage stress, since both directly affect insulin. 7. Eat dinner earlier, leaving 3 hours, 4 hours before sleep. These steps may seem simple, but together they create powerful change. They don't just lower insulin, they restore your body's natural ability to switch between storing and burning fat. Conclusion: don't fight your hormones. The final message is clear: there are no magic shortcuts. Miracle pills, extreme diets, or radical calorie cuts may deliver short-term results, but they're not sustainable. The real secret is aligning your lifestyle with human biology. Once you understand how insulin works, how sleep and stress affect it, and how meal timing changes everything, you stop swimming against the current. That's when weight loss stops being a painful struggle and becomes the natural outcome of smarter choices. If you've made it this far, you already know that losing weight goes far beyond counting calories. Now it's your turn. Start applying one of these strategies today, whether it's delaying breakfast, cutting refined carbs, or prioritizing a good night's sleep. And tell me in the comments, which of these changes will you try first? Share your experience. Your story might inspire others to take the first step toward a healthier life. If you enjoyed this content, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and follow the upcoming videos. Knowledge is the most powerful tool to transform your health, and you've just taken the first step. Support our channel. Find out how in the pinned comment below.